Alright, welcome to episode 18 of What If Civilization Started Over. So, I don't know why I zoomed in Europe. I was just kind of looking at Europe. In the last episode then, on a really cool event, we had a huge war in the Holy Roman Empire, or Holy Polish Empire, I suppose. I put it as HRE on the title, because I don't know if anyone would know what the HPE is. And it might just be like, meh, what is that? Or that could attract people, I don't know. So this country, this lilac-y, periwinkle coloured country, attacked this pinkish one. Maybe it's the other way around. Either way, they went to a war, and now they look extremely skeletal. They look very injured. Other countries like Kaliningrad and Poland, and these two guys, and not Hungary, but Czechia maybe? Maybe not, Slovakia potentially. They got involved and got lots of land. I mean, you got a lot of land, so did Poland, even though they're on the losing side. And Kaliningrad got some land over here in the east, but they got separated into two, which is cool. And you two just generally are still weak, so that's fun. France expanded into Germany whilst that was going on, so there you go, big France. And what was the other thing I did? Was it this? I have no idea. That was another thing that I did, and to be honest, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was a big thing, wasn't it? I have no idea. Was it this war? Did I do that? Or was that a different thing? I'm pretty sure it was a different thing. This is professional stuff. Anyway, let's go over to India at the start, because there's some pretty interesting stuff that's going on in India at the moment. And, yeah, India's not having a great time, if I'm honest. They're really not doing too well. So, because of this, we're going to see the Indians have a civil war. And unfortunately, I'll cut it short for you guys. India's not going to do very well in the civil war. And yeah, the group is going to end up getting their own independence, as India will now split into two separate nations. So we have a Western Indian country and an Eastern Indian country. So I'm going to draw out their borders. I don't think we need to go over the civil war, because it's just to be like a civil war. India fights some guerrilla military stuff in the jungles. Well, not jungles, but parts of India. They lose, and they lose all of their eastern territory. That's just how it's going to be. So I'll explain it out to you there. This country is kind of, well, there was a split in the council basically, and half of them wanted to do one thing, half of them wanted to do another thing, and it all went very badly. So now we have this new country pop up over here in the east. I might darken the color. I don't know why there's so many yellowish countries in India. It's strange, but that's kind of a few. So this country now exists. They're going to put their capital city right on the coast. Let's put it up here, maybe in the north. Is that's right, isn't it? Yep. So they put their capital city over here in the east, but it couldn't be that simple, could it? Because we're going to see another country rebel from this one, and let's make their color like blue. We don't really have many dark blues in this region. It's not going to be a massive country, just a little one. And let's just throw it in maybe kind of up here. It's kind of mountainous, I guess. I'm not an expert in Indian geography. I'm not terrible at it, but I'm not an expert. So this country now exists, and unfortunately for this country, they have absolutely zero major cities, which is going to be a bit of a problem. So let's just make the one for them. And let's look at their provinces as well. Let's put it over here. That seems like a good spot to put. Yeah, maybe on the major city there. Get it right, mate. Alright, cool. So they have their one singular major city. By the end of the episode, like when I'm updating the layers, I will add a few more into this country, probably more into India. I feel like they might. Why? There we go. Let's do it properly, guys. There we go. Nice. So 2 new countries in India, and yeah, as I was saying, the council had a big split over different things they wanted to do. So we have an Eastern Indian and a Western Indian country, and Iran is loving this. However, things aren't great in Iran, because if we need to go into the ideology layer, we need to draw some new boxes. Yay. So box number 1 for this yellowish country, and box number 2 for these guys. And yellowish country, they're an aristocracy, and we'll get onto that in a second and why that's bad. As for the bluish country, they stay as a council. They're just going to keep that. But this country is just, the council people in this area just became rich, and they were like, hey, we're all nobles now. We're not really like elected council people, and we just stayed in office because we're very corrupt, and I like that. So we're just gonna keep it that sort of way. So there you go. This is why this country is now an aristocracy. But looking down here at southern India, there's a certain guy that used to be an aristocracy, and that is, of course, the old reddish country. They used to be an aristocracy until the Iranians, Persians overturned their aristocracy and made it into an absolute monarchy through. Sorry, I sneezed there. Sorry. I've got hay fever. If you didn't know. Oh yeah, I've got loads of great illnesses, so that's fine. Well, not loads, but I'm fine. Anyway, Iran overturned their aristocratic country government thing. They made a load of assassinations, and eventually they got this absolute monarchy put in place, and the red team does not love that. So what did the red team do? Well, they kill the king, which the Persians don't like an awful lot, unsurprisingly. And yeah, there's a big civil war in the red team. Well, not a big one, kind of a little one. It's just like an ability level thing, so there's like a load of knights fight each other on a field. And that's it. Like, the aristocratic forces eventually win. Well, not eventually, but literally that one battle they win, which is kind of how wars in this time period happened. And yeah, eventually we see the red team's aristocracy return after a bit of like political stuff. That's back. Hooray. However, one thing to note is they're still in the Persian alliance. How's that alliance going for you, mate? Well, Persia is kind of struggling now. There's not really one big enemy for them to fight. They were kind of united with these Indian guys down here in the south because they all feared northern India, which was very big. It was bigger than just like it's bigger than this. They had a bit of the red team in other countries as well. It was a very scary thing for these guys, and they thought they were going to get attacked by them. Well, some of them did. Persia's main big threat now is the Central Asian country, who, looking at the top 10 list, we can see has recently moved up to the number 5 spot. Also, India, don't worry, mate. You're going to be kind of moving down a little bit. We're not right there. So now Central Asia is the 4th strongest nation. I mean, they're about as strong as they were in 5th, but actually, you know, I'll fix this after the video. But at this point, India is probably stronger than Bengal still, but they're weaker than Shanghai. So that means Bengal is off the top 10. Looking at southern India, they are also, well, eastern India I mean, they're also stronger than Bengal, which means that Bengal is now in 12th, you're in 11th, and in 13th we have the Egyptians. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out, I suppose. But Central Asia is now in 4th. So, there's that. The only problem is that nobody in Iran's alliance is afraid of the Central Asians. For one obvious reason. Central Asia is right up here, and all you guys are down here. So, what we see happening is a lot of people just not doing stuff for Iran's alliance, and Iran, in fact, just losing interest in this alliance, as these two guys in the north start to grow distant from it. And, yeah. So, also for Iran, we have the influence dwindling in these two southern nations. The purplish country is very linked to Iran in terms of monarchy, and the blue country's monarchy is very linked to the purple team and also the Persians one. But in the orange country, you may remember, they kind of puppeted the blue team first, and they had control over their monarchy first. However, they got taken away by the purple team because the Iranians being strong and scary. So that kind of happened, and secretly we see a meeting happen. Which city do you want? Probably this city. It's right on the border between the orange and the red teams, and they decide, you know what? It doesn't look like Persia's going to do anything about this. Why don't we just attack these two guys? So, yeah, they declare war on the blue and the purplish countries. Yeah, this isn't going to go great for everyone down here. So, turning on major cities layer, we can see that you have a lot more major cities than these guys. You've got 2, and you've got 3, and you've got 3, I suppose. Whilst the Sri Lankan guys have got 6, and you've got 4. You should probably have more than 4, if I'm honest. Because you're quite a strong country. You're probably like, maybe not 14th, but definitely in the top 20. Probably top like 17, maybe. So the red team will begin their invasion into the purple team. The blue team is being more prioritized by the orange Indian people, Sri Lankan guys. And that's just because the capital's right there, and also they had the biggest claims on them. So they take the capital with relative ease and also take this major city, leaving only one left. the red team will send their military in to capture the remnants of this area. So we'll just do this. Just so I can get the color up, just in case they actually survive this war. And as for the orange team invading the blue team, purple team, I don't know what I'm saying, their capital city is also very close. They spearhead towards the capital, taking it with relative ease once again. And they just leave the southern area stranded. A lot of people flee to the south. However, I mean, no one's defending the north. So the red team will quickly push through here. And yeah, you guys take over the southern area. And we can get to a peace treaty now. So, you guys will just reappear for a second before we divide you up between all these guys. This should be fun. Going on to the province layer then. The red team and the Sri Lankan infantry, orange guys, are both going to be getting quite a lot of land, with the red team taking this major city in the north, along with these provinces. And as for the blue team, they're also going to take all of this stuff, which is a lot of land. There's one city right on the border here. I'm not sure what to do about that city. It's a bit strange. There's like a province going right through you, mate. There's also just get rid of this line because I don't like it. And as for the rest of this bluish country, well, it looks extremely tortured. If I'm honest, it looks horrible. So what we see happening is the orange team will take all this land in the north. Do we have any other cities? You take all of that land in the north, and you're also going to take all this land. The question is, do you allow them to have this big province here? I don't think they do, to be honest. The poor, unfortunate blue country is going to be left with 2 provinces. I don't know why I lisp. I can't talk. I'm lisping too much. Lisped too much there. So much there. I don't know what's going on. Then going over to the purple country, the orange country wanted to annex access to the Arabian Sea, but they're not allowed. So instead, they just take. Oh, come on, man. The southern part of the orange country. So there you go. Iran has lost basically all their influence in southern India, with both their allies now not their allies anymore, and the orange and the red countries being extremely powerful. If we go to the alliance layer, all these alliances are going to get removed, and Iran needs to find themselves some new allies because they still have the alliance. Fortunately for Iran, there's a lot of opportunity for. Oh, flip. Oopsie. I think I destroyed the wrong bit. Oh, come on, man. I'm just doing so badly here. Because, of course, we had 2 new northern Indian countries who were both given absolute monarchies by the Iranians, which means there's a lot of opportunity here. As for the orange country, they will be transitioning away from an absolute monarchy. You'll be like, how does one transition from an absolute monarchy to a normal monarchy? I don't know. Well, no, the people just kind of go, this is bad. The aristocracy is going to go, we hate this. And even the king's like, I don't think I should be allowed to have this much power because they got a nice king, I guess. Which is strange. The king's actually stepping down from power. That's insane. So it's not a constitutional monarchy. I mean, the king still holds all the power in this country. Where's this layer? There we go. So, yeah, you are now an aristocracy. You're going to switch to a monarchy. Oh my god. A monarchy, and you guys will also be thrown into monarchist regimes, which the red team's alright with. So the red team and this yellowish country over here are probably going to have pretty good relations. And yeah, let's go to Iran, because finally, just as I was saying, if we look at these 2 guys, they're both absolute monarchies. Iran is going to get rid of this. Force both of you guys into the Iranian alliance. Yeah, they're probably alright with that. You know, India is almost definitely planning to swallow them up again. But Iran does have some more opportunity, and especially if we look at what's going to happen in the Middle East, because the green country has just declared war on their beige-ish southern neighbor. Unfortunately, this country is actually weaker than you'd think it would be. They have good opportunity here with the Gulf of Aden, but they don't really prioritize it and use it well. The government is very corrupt. It is an absolute monarchy. It's very corrupt. The green and the orange countries, who are both in a sort of defensive pact, are theocracies, and so is this guy, but oh well. Yeah, they begin their invasion here in the north, and the green country will quickly capture one of these major cities. The other one is a bit far away. The orange country is just going to play defensive. They have one major city, and that's their capital city. And unfortunately for them, they get invaded by the beige country. It's really not that important for them to do this, because why? Why do you need to do that, man? But the beige country will invade into their nation. They don't really think about getting the green country, because their military is a bit stupid. And so is their king, you know. Why would you want to be an absolute monarchy? And because of that, the green team's military will push down really far into this sort of Aden country. They actually get pretty far over here. They're not really helping their orange ally, but that's because they don't really matter all that much. Their country is run by one religious leader, and their military is just there for defending the capital. Unfortunately, their military is rubbish, so their capital is quickly lost. The green team, or Hejaz, I guess, is slightly worried. You know, they might push through the orange country and invade into their nation, but it's not that frightening. So they're just going to keep invading on, and the beige Asian country eventually realizes they made a mistake in investing a lot of their military into invading the orange country, because they're all lost in a desert. The supply trains are very hard to get there. People are starving and dying of dehydration, and it's going to take them a long time to get to the front lines. They just got distracted, attacking a load of sand for like no reason. They do make a slight pushback against some of the undefended areas that the green team is occupying. Well, not undefended, but like not very defended. So that's bad. And the green country is just going to continue to push down the west coast of this area until there's a massive turning point, and that is that every country declares won the green country. No, it's their ally in a theocratic country, the purplish, call it indigo color. I like this color a lot. They will also invade. They want some land. They own Socotra. That's nothing to do with this war, but it's cool. I like Socotra. I was afraid for a second I was on the wrong layer, but I'm not. So that's nice. They invade mostly in the south. Their military is not anything to really write home about, but it is a military. And the other important thing they do is invade into the orange country, who they see as just a big important guy to them. You know, cool religious thing. Of course, some of their military will also spread around from this border. The orange team's military is now non-existent. It's just volunteers from other countries, like this one and the green one, and I guess like Qatar and the UAE. Although that's kind of the bit where Oman owns some stuff, so oh well. The beige country is now realizing they made a massive mistake, and they still don't know what that was, because I don't know what mistake they made, but they obviously made one. It might just be an existing though. As finally, the Ethiopians, Eritreans, Sudanese guys actually invade. They have like one naval vessel for invasions, the rest of them are merchant ships. But they do manage to invade, their troops get on the sand, and they just have a really big military, well not really big military, just like a large percentage of the population is in the military. So they take the capital city, a lot of losses, but they do manage to take the capital. All the troops will withdraw from the orange country, who doesn't invade. They just do some like religious sermons and stuff. I'm like, hey guys, I think we can win. Whoa, that's crazy. As the purple country takes over a lot of the sand, and the green country invades into this area. So yeah, let's look at a peace treaty for this beige nation. Bam, bam, bam. Here they are. So I think we should probably start with Sudan. It used to be Sudanese, but you're not Sudanese anymore. They're just going to be annexing a bit of stuff around the Gulf of Aden. This is a major part of their economy. Just being near the Gulf of Aden is a big part of their economy. So they get quite a lot of land around there. I'm not sure how good those borders were. They weren't terrible. Also, the capital city is going to get demoted, so that's nice. The orange country, then I guess. You've got some massive provinces because most of your land is complete desert. Yeah, that's fun. They're going to take over some more desert because I feel like they need that in their life. You know, they don't need any actually economically viable land. Just get some more desert. Sounds great. They're kind of puppeted by the green team as well, so that's fun. And the green team just wants them to get more land. As for the green country then, they're going to take over a lot of territory, going all the way over to this sort of southern point. Nobody's really there to oppose them. They're kind of a regional power. I mean, I guess Egypt could oppose them if they wanted, but Egypt doesn't want to, so oh well. It's like these guys really love the Sudanese, who the Egyptians hate. And finally, we see the Indigo country take over the remaining areas of this country. So there we are. Here's the peace treaty to divide up the Aden country. And yeah, Arabia looks very different. Following on from this war, we see a meeting occur in the capital of the Orange country, who is their economy hasn't changed like slightly. They got nothing good there. It's led by the Green country. They orchestrated this. They're like, oh guys, we need to meet up. And it's the Indigo country, the Orange country, and the Green country. All their theocratic leaders meet over here in this capital. And it's something big that we're going to talk about in the next episode, which will kind of be a big shift. Not a crazy shift, but something different. You probably didn't expect, or maybe did. And yeah, they're all going to go home with something to think about. How the Indigo country looks slightly annoyed. So you'll find out what that is in the next episode. But the Green country really wants to go ahead with their new idea. Anyway, moving over to China. Persia isn't the only nation who's losing influence. However, I just want to do one thing, because you're an absolute monarchy. You're afraid of all three of these guys invading you. So what you're going to do is join the Persian alliance. Hooray. There you go. You're now in the purple team, which is 4 new countries. They lost all 4 of their previous allies, but they got 4 new ones, well, 3 new ones in one episode, so that's cool. Going over here to China then. China is losing influence, and that's mainly because all their old allies, well, all their current allies, I guess, are still in alliance with them, are becoming more independent. They're able to do stuff by themselves. They're actually growing up as nations. So whilst China does expand all this stuff, they look pretty strong. They are losing influence. For example, Korea is, well, they were a major sort of Chinese puppet country. They had a lot of control over the Koreans. The Chinese effectively created Korea as its own country, but that's less of a thing here. I don't know what's going on. Never mind. Less of a thing here. So China has less control over the Koreans. The Koreans are doing their own sort of thing. China's like, hey, go expand across all of Japan. And the Koreans are like, no, why do we do that? The blue country was told not to expand into areas of like central China, not central China because China is very big. However, they just did it anyway because they're not a puppet government of the Chinese anymore. They are their own monarchy. They're still linked to the Chinese. It's not the same anymore. The 2 countries down here, the pink and the brownish countries, are both going through a process to join the Chinese alliance because they're afraid of China. However, people now kind of scoff at the idea of fearing China. Well, they're still very strong. They could beat literally any of the countries up to, I think they'll probably beat all the countries in this circle, which is a lot of nations. I couldn't beat Iran or you guys, but yeah, they're very dominant here. However, lots of people are kind of like, China's been bossing us around for hundreds of years, and why are we letting them do it? You know, they're only slightly stronger than us, and we don't really need the protection from them anymore. So, yeah, things are going badly for China. Even their own people in their own country, I'm kind of not liking them as much. I mean, Korea's still going to expand across Japan, but not all of it. They haven't explored all of it. They've got to like this bit maybe. China's like, yeah, take over the entire possible continent. They don't know how big it is, so yeah. Also, you haven't discovered the Philippines either, so that's just kind of there. The orange team isn't going to rapidly go over there. The green country is also going to expand. Not too much, because they're not too powerful, but they're still a lot stronger than they were. New alliances are becoming existent between these 3 countries. Bengal's even kind of moving into their sphere a little bit, even though they're a council. That stuff's kind of moved away because it's mainly a North Chinese idea of we hate councils and other ideologies that aren't just basic monarchies. And speaking of hating ideologies that aren't basic monarchies, you may remember the blue country was an absolute monarchy, and it looks like they're following that trend again. We'll have to see in the next episode, but they're kind of moving away from China. And that's the main point I try to make there. Even the orange team they're like China's biggest, oldest ally. So there you go. Not great things happening with China. Also, let's expand Bengal. I like their borders a lot, but they've been the same for a very long time. And they're also quite an injured nation who needs more land to become stronger. So there you go. Having they lost access to Malaysia, except I guess you could just go down here. If you want, you just take over all of this stuff, but no one knows it exists. So even though this island exists, this stupid one down here. Sorry, people who live on that island. Anyway, I think I might leave it here for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. A lot of interesting stuff going to happen in the next episode. I don't really talk about Europe a whole lot. I talked about the Holy Roman Empire for a little bit, but not that much. But we will be there in the next episode again. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one. Goodbye, and have a nice rest of your day.